-10, but it doesn't snow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It rarely snows in the UK.
Why is it
I don't
so?
know
Is it because it's near the sea or ocean, or?
why. Not too sure. Probably that might have something to do with it.
Because it snows in Germany, it snows in Switzerland, it snows in France, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, actually, yesterday it came to my mind. I was just wondering whether it snows in UK or not. Maybe it's located a bit uh, below, I think. Anyway, I mean, now we'll talk about just some application of matrices, use of matrices in solving everyday life problems. As you see here, multiplication of matrices or addition of matrices or subtraction or multiplication of a matrix by a real number. It just follows a fixed rule, right? As you see here, when we are multiplying, first we need to multiply the first row by each column of the second matrix. To multiply a row matrix by a column matrix, just we need to multiply their corresponding entries. That means that the first entry by the first entry plus second entry plus by the second entry. And it is something, it's just a fixed rule. And that's why actually it is possible to write an algorithm. And as I told you in the previous session, a lot of programs like, for example, spreadsheets or even that I use most is MATLAB and Excel, they have actually this built-in function. And like in your, you use Windows, right, Amira?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Before we continue this, let me just show you some examples, and after that I will continue from here. Okay, share my screen. Okay, you can see Excel program?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to show you actually how we are doing this. I don't know, you might know this, or if you don't know, it's new thing for you. If you know, it's just a kind of practice remembering this. What we have learned so far, like addition of two matrices, subtraction, everything, we can do it here. And still, even if you have a computer, to be able to add or multiply matrix by a number, you need to have some knowledge about matrices. And because if you don't actually know how to multiply, right? For example, let's say, because when you're multiplying two matrices together, you need to show the destination cells. Otherwise, computer cannot actually perform the right operation. For example, let's say our first matrix, assume that here, that is 1 by 3 matrix. The first entry is 3, 2, 5, or 6, let's say. Okay, let me just write here. And make it a little slower. Okay, that's our first matrix. And to show that, let me also highlight this one. Okay, and assume that I want to multiply this by another matrix. And because since it is 1 by 3, another matrix must be either 3 by 1 or 3 by 2 or 3 by 3, but the number of rows must be 3. So let's say that matrix is, if we have 5, 3, 8. Okay, it should be row, I mean column, 5, 3, and 8. So I want to multiply the blue one by this yellow one. Okay. So now, okay, you want to multiply this matrix by this. And where I want to write the results. First, I should to know this one, actually, I should know the dimension or the order of the resulting matrix, because this one is 1 by 3, this one is 3 by 1. Okay, then now I know that, okay, 1 by 3 is 3 by 1. The resulting matrix will be of order 1 by 1. Let's say that I want to write the result here. Then my result will be here. Okay, so here just write equal sign. And after that, matrix multiplication Excel is MMULT. The first M stands for matrix, MULT is for multiplication. And when you just open the parentheses, it asks, as you see here, this array 1 and array 2. That array 1 means matrix 1. Array 2 is matrix 2. And we know that what is a matrix? Matrix is just rectangular array of numbers. So now I will just choose matrix 1. Here, I will just choose this. And after that, you need to put comma here. Now it is asking array 2. So array 2 is this thing. So now we should close the brackets. Now, if you just click enter, it does not perform this matrix multiplication. To do this one, we need to actually press that Control Shift Enter together at the same time. So if I just press Control Shift and Enter, it just gives the result. So here's 3 times 5, 15, plus 2 times 3, 6, 21, 6 times 8 is 48, and the sum is 69. So how about if I want to multiply, for example, 2 by 3 matrix by 3 by 2 matrix? Let's say here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one is 2 by 3 matrix. I have another matrix here. Let's say this 3 by 2, because this one is 2 by 3. Another matrix must be 3 by something. So that is, let's say 1, 2, 3, and the 4, 5, 6. And even I can write here, let's say 7, 8, 9. So this matrix actually it is 2 by 3. So this one is 3 by 3. So this 2 by 3, 3 by 3. The resulting matrix will be, what is it? 2 by 3, right? So I need to choose actually the destination cells here. Okay, 2 by 3. Where will I write the answer? If I multiply this matrix, let me just write this one by this thing. Let's say it is this. Okay, so I know that if I multiply 2 by 3 matrix by 3 by 3 matrix, the result will be 2 by 3 matrix. Let me just write the result here. 2 by 3 is first we have to choose the destination cells. Let me also actually color this. Okay, so first we have to choose these cells, and after that, press equal sign, and again MULT. And open brackets. Now it is asking the first array, that means the matrix A, matrix B. So this one is matrix A, and we should multiply this by matrix B. So we should close the brackets. And now if I just press the enter, it will multiply only the first number by the first number. But so since it is matrix multiplication, again, we need to actually press Control Shift Enter at the same time. Control Shift Enter. We will get the result. So the product of these two matrices by this is equal to this. Now, how about if I multiply this 3 by 3 by 2 by 3, and you will see that it will be wrong. So here we have 3 by 2. Let's say it's equals MULT, and let's select this matrix, and the second one is this. And close the entry, it will be wrong. And because it says the error, this operation is defined. Why? Because this multiplication is not defined. And this is how we multiply two matrices in Excel. And how about, for example, let's say we have 3 students, like that's the application, A, B, C. And they have 3 tests in math. Let's say test 1, test 2, and test 3. Okay, so test 1 is, let's say 7 and 8, 8 is 7, and 90. And the second test is, let's say 90, 98, and what is it, 65. Let me just write, not test 3, average. Okay, how do you write the average? Averages, we know that I should add these numbers together and divide by 2, right? And also as a matrix, if I just consider this one is one matrix, this one is second matrix. If we just add these two matrices together and multiply the result by 1/2, it also gives us the average, right? Also, this has function. How can we do this as a matrix? To do this one, actually here, I need to choose, okay, here we have equal sign, and let's say here we have 0.5 and times, and here we have open brackets. We should add this matrix plus this matrix. Okay, close the bracket. Now, as see here, 0.5, this L70, L9, that is the first matrix. M70, M9, that's the second matrix. And the control shift, again, that means that it's just considering we are dealing with matrices. Just add this thing together, divide by 2, that's the average, and that's the average, and this is the average. Now, that is how we add and also subtract two matrices. And for example, let's say to some reason a teacher made a mistake. For example, let's say these scores of the students are wrong, and he wants, or the teacher wants to increase all of these scores by 10%. Okay, how can we do that? Should we actually multiply each number one by one? In general, we can do that, right? But how about if we have, like, let's say 100 students or 500 students or the whole college students? How can we change all the numbers at once? To do this one again, I should just choose this as a matrix. I can also do it here. Let me just do it here. Okay, I want to increase all the student scores by 10%. So here we have 0 equals 10% means we should multiply each number y by 1.1, right? 1.1 times, and here we have the matrix, and here we have Control Shift Enter. It increases all the scores by 10%. Okay, that is an application in business we use a lot. Now we will see a few examples here. I'm not going to show multiplication, but just we'll talk about the idea, how is it used. The computational part, you can actually do this using Excel. Okay?
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Good. So one example, you read it, I will listen to you. Is that okay?
Yeah. So example 10, the table shows the results of and the bonus points awarded for good sportsmanship to 5 S-League football teams. A win is awarded 5 points, a draw 2 points, and a loss 1 point. Bonus points for good sportsmanship are added to the points gained by the teams. Write down 2 matrices only, which one multiplication display in their product the total number of points gained by each of the 5 teams.
Okay. And usually, if you just ever watch the football league, right? And actually, they are divided into groups. Each group has maybe like 4 players or 5 players. The teams, and they play against each other. After that, if they win, they get some points. If they lose some point, or maybe some small point. If it is draw, and again some points, blah blah, something like this. So manually we can do this, but here just going to see how matrix is used to do this one, and it makes our work or computation very, very easy, because once you input the data, if you know how to multiply a matrix by another matrix, just choose select it and the Control Shift Enter, you get the result. But here we are talking about 5 teams, that's All-Star, Best Form, Champion, Durian, Eastwind. You know durian, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever eaten durian?
Not really.
Have you ever seen a durian?
Not in real life. I've seen pictures of it online.
Not in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to taste durian, you need to visit this part of the world, like Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Cambodia. The best durians are here. Of course, the first time, actually, that's really interesting. That is the most expensive fruit here. 1 kilo is about $4 or $5. 1 kilo means if you buy a durian, which is like 5 kilos, and if you just cut it, and the fruit inside will be, edible part will be like maybe 1.5 or 2 kilos. So that means that 1 kilo of that edible durian is about $20-25. Anyway, the first impression of the people when they just come from like Uzbekistan, for example, if they ask, what do you think about this? They say that it's like spoiled onion. So really, but actually everybody likes this, very expensive. But once you get used to it, it's like maybe something, I don't know, like addiction, that you cannot stop eating this. It's very nice and very good fruits. If you eat this, you don't have to even eat your dinner. It gives a lot of energy. It's like an ice cream. Anyway, So that's Durian anyway. The name of the team is Win. So here played 29, 90, 11, 21, 18, 22, won, drawn, lost, bonus points. So actually here, even if this table is not given as a scientist or mathematician or as an expert in this field, we should be able to make this table, right? If you have ever studied statistics, we have to tabulate this data so that when we look at the data, we can see everything clearly. That is one way of presentation of data, because we have some different ways we can display data, as you know, using a table, using a line graph or bar graph or histogram, pictogram. Anyway, that's one of them. That's a table. So now it says that's 5 points for a win. For example, if you talk about the first team here, All Star, actually they played 20 games, so they won 13 of their games. For each win, they get 5 points. Okay, so I should multiply this 5 by 13 plus drawn. Okay, the 0 times for each draw, they get 2 points. And for loss, they get only 1 point. That's also a good thing. They don't give negative point. And plus for their performance, and also they get some bonus points, right? If I want to get the total, I should add 13 times 5 plus 0 times 2 plus 7 times 1 plus 12 times 1, because we don't have to multiply by anything, and add them up. We will get their total score. And as you see here, this multiplication is exactly, how to say, it matches with matrix multiplication. And that's why if I move to the second team, we should do the same thing, exactly the same thing, right? Multiply the first number of win by 5, draw by 2, and loss by 1, and the bonus point by 1, and add them up. We will get the total score of the second team. So how can I just write two matrices so that their multiplication gives us the total score of each team? So let's say this A represents the first part of the table, that is 13. Here we have 13, 0, 7, 12. So the first number represents the number of wins. The second one draws. Third one is draw and loss, right? And the last one is bonus point. So if you multiply this by these matrix, as you see here, this A, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one is 5 by 4 matrix. And how about the second one? It is 1, 2, 3, 4. That is 4 by 1 matrix. So if you multiply, this is defined because these things are equal. And the resulting matrix will be of this order, 5 by 1. 5 by 1 means 5 rows and 1 column. So which is actually, if you just multiply this, using Excel, you can just do this. 13 times 5 plus 0 times 2 plus 7 times 1 plus 12 times 1. So that's equal to 84. So 84 is the total points of All Star. And a similar way, second row by the first column, we get the second row entries. And here we have the third row by the first column. Since here we have one column, the resulting matrix will have one column, because here we have 5 by 1. And multiply each row by the first column. So we will get the first row, the second row, third row, fourth row, and fifth row. So these are the total scores earned by each team. And that's one application of how to say calculation of these points. Now see here, once we input the data in the spreadsheets and just Control-Shift Enter, we get the results. Okay, Amira.
Okay.
Is that enough, or we should see one more example? Let's see one more example and I will finish this part. Okay. So can you see this example? Let's see another example of business.
Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, can you read it?
Okay. An otar factory produces 4 types of seafood otar, namely fish, F, prawn, P, squid, S, and mixed seafood otar, M, for distribution to its 5 outlets. Allwell receives 70 of F, 120 of P, 90 of S, and 80 of M. Be Happy receives 120 of F, 150 of S, and 140 of M. Carry On receives 150 of P, 85 of S, and 60 of M. Do It Right receives 200 of F, 140 of P, and 70 of S. Easy Mart receives 80 of F, 110 of P, and 95 of M.
Okay. Amiri, at school, how many different math subjects do you have? Only one, or like geometry, math, algebra, statistics, you learn them separately?
We only have one maths class, and we only learn them one at a time.
So only one teacher teaches everything.
We have two teachers, but generally we don't switch often, so we'll have one teacher for a week and then the second one for the next week. But we only learn one topic at a time.
I see. Good. Because in some other countries like USA, for example, they have math and algebra. In Uzbekistan, math and geometry. These are different subjects. Okay, in UK system is a single, I think. Very good. Actually, this is also partially, so like statistics, we are given a set of data here. The number one is we have to tabulate this. And after that, we will answer this question. So the first one, I'll see here, if you just, can we display this data in a table? How do you do that? So in this way, here we have the types of the products, fish, prawn, squid, mix. This is not given, actually. The student must do this. All well, be happy, carry on, do it right, easy mark. As you see here, that is one of the most commonly used way of presenting data. That is tabulation. That's how we call it in statistics. As you see here, when we just tabulate this data in this way, when you look at this picture, now we have some idea very quickly. Okay, all well fish, 70. All well prawn is 120. Anyway, after tabulating this, and also we can actually describe this as a matrix. Here we have 5 by 4 matrix. Now from here we can understand that the first row is about all well, the second row is about be happy. Okay, now question A. The cost to the outlets of each stick of F, P, S, and M is $0.35, $0.40, $0.45, and $0.38 respectively. Okay, we are talking about those 4 different types of food. And write down 2 matrices such that the elements of the year product under matrix multiplication give the cost of OTAs delivered to each outlet. Evaluate this product. So actually in daily life, for example, let's say in the morning, I don't know, actually here around us here, I see a lot of companies, when you go to the markets in the early hours, you will see that some different companies, they deliver their product to different supermarkets, like let's say breads, right? Like 4 or 5 different companies. Maybe they deliver their food to maybe 10 or 15 different supermarkets. At the end of the day, or maybe next morning, they will just visit those shops again and collect the the money. So how do they evaluate this? Okay, after they sell their products, now do they actually calculate one by one, or they form a matrix and use the Excel and get the, total revenues? If they study some business related subject or math, they can just write their program in Excel and they should just input the data and they get the result. So particularly if you talk about this question, we are talking about 5 different outlets. The first outlet, right, the first row, it receives the first product 70, the second product 120, 90, and 80. And we know that your individual prices 0.35, 0.40, 0.45, and 0.38. So here we have 5 by 4 matrix, and this one is 4 by 1. So actually, of course, it's possible because we are talking about 4 different products and they are 4 different prices. So the result will be 5 by 1 matrix. So that means that from outlet A, at the end of the day, if all products are sold out, we have to collect this amount. Actually, as you see here, multiplication, we are not studying here multiplication. How we are applying the product of matrices in our business here. If you can write, this data into Excel and also this one, and after that we know where to write our results and Control-Shift-Enter, and immediately we can get the answer or the total cost of, the revenue that we have to collect from each outlets. Okay, now part B. Amira, you read it. We have the second part here.
During the month of December, all were received 45 such deliveries, be happy 42 deliveries, carry on 38 deliveries, do it right 55 deliveries, easy mark 52 deliveries. Write down two matrices such that the elements of their products give the total number of sticks of OTA of each type leaving the factory. Obtain this product and hence find the total number of OTA supplied by the factory to these outlets.
Okay, write down two matrices, maybe only two matrices, such that the elements of the product give the total number of sticks of OTAs of each type leaving the factory. Okay. Can you visualize this? I mean, without moving to the next slides. We are talking about 4 different products, right? And 45 deliveries. Let's talk about only all well. Let me just move back. Let's say all well received 45 such deliveries in December. So their deliveries, right? 70, 120, 90, 80. Only for the first one. Can you write that matrix, Amira? Here at the top. What is the question here? Write down two matrices such that the elements of the product give the total number of sticks of OTAs of each type leaving the factory. Each type means how many fish, how many, what is it, prawn and squid and mixed.
How would I do that?
Here, you can just write FPSM. You just write inside the matrix, let's say FPSM. Okay. So where do all will receive 45 such deliveries? So write down two matrices such that the elements of the product give the total number of sticks of OTAs of each type leaving the factory. This is your first matrix, okay? How about your second matrix? Because here we need to write two matrices, right? Only. Let's say, okay, that one is, let's say Q times P. Okay, your P is that thing, the above. This one is number of fish, number of prawn, number of squid, and mix, right? And how many such deliveries we made in December? 45, right? So here we need to write 45 here, right? If we just multiply that thing by 45, so 45, this one we order 45 times, and this P 45 times, and this one, but if I multiply this, so in similar way, how about if we have this kind of matrix here, right? That's the first outlet, second outlet, and third one, fourth one, and fifth one, right? So that's what we are asking here. So that means that the quantity, so we need to write those things. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. If we multiply this one is, I can just write here, this one is fish, or maybe I better write this one here. Fish, prawn, what is it? Squids, and the mix, right? So, because in the question it says that, let's just move to the question, that the elements of the product give the total number of sticks of OTAs of each type leaving the factory. So we are delivering this product to 5 different companies, and I want to know if it actually in December we made 45. Is it 45? Anyway, it's given the first one 45, the second one 42, 38, 55, 52 deliveries to these companies. So we want to know, okay, in that month, December, how many fish OTAs and how many prawn OTAs and squid and the mix were produced, right? To do this one, the first column, it represents the number of fish, right? The number of fish delivered to A, number of fish delivered to B, C, and D, and E. So if I multiply this, for example, 45 by this, 42 by this, and 38 by this, and anyway, How they multiplying this? This one is 1 by 5 matrix. This one is 5 by 4 matrix. This 5 is the same. So the resulting matrix will be 1 by 4. So 1 by 4 means it is something like this. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So that actually, this entry gives us 45 times this, plus 42 times this, plus 38 times this, plus 55 times this, plus 52 times this. It gives us the total number of fish otter. And that's actually what the question asking. And if you multiply this, we know how to multiply this by maybe using Excel if it's a big matrix, and we will get this result. It means in the particular month, actually the factory produced that many fish otters, this many, what is it, prawn, and the squid, and the mixed.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. All right. Amira, let me stop here. I think your school started. You're quite busy. Now I will send you one file. If you have time, you should practice some questions. If you don't have time, you can do a few questions. You don't have to solve the questions. Actually, you need to just practice until you get comfortable with these questions. As I say here, it's a bit different concepts, but again, if your algebra and that math is good, it is not so difficult. Even other topics of math, the same thing. If you're actually, how to say, the foundation is good in math, you will not have much difficulty in learning other stuff. Because after all, this in math, all topics are related to each other. Okay. So Amira, for next month, a Sunday, okay. In case if you are busy or something happens, can you just let me know by Saturday night? Is it possible or is too early for you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Because for like you are busy or anything may happen, just let me know Saturday night because I make a plan one day early for the next day. Okay, because if you just tell me a bit late, I may, how to say, not good for me. Okay, maybe Saturday night, but at least for us in Cambodian time, like Sunday noon time. For London, it may be maybe early 8 or 9 o'clock. In case if anything happens or you are busy, okay. So if I don't receive a message from you, I will just remind you. Maybe I'll send a message to confirm that we are having class. Okay, I will meet you next Sunday, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Amira. Thank you very much. I wish you good luck in your new academic year. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a nice day.
You too. Thank you.